What I'm about to tell you will make you never want to go camping alone again. 5 people, 5 camping trips, 5 encounters that changed their lives forever. And if you think you know where this is going, you don't. Because the thing that happened to Marcus in those English woods, that wasn't even the worst part of his story. Look, I've been collecting these stories for 3 years now. Real people, real encounters. And I'm telling you right now, by the end of this video, you're going to question everything you thought you knew about who you can trust in the wilderness. I've verified these accounts. I've spoken to witnesses. I've seen the police reports. And what you're about to hear, it's going to mess with your head. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you these 5 stories exactly as they happened. No sugarcoating. No Hollywood ending. Just the raw, terrifying truth. And I need you to ask yourself this question as we go. What would you have done? Because trust me, you're going to want to stick around for story number 3. That one's going to haunt you. Hit that notification bell right now because you do not want to miss what happens next. This is Marcus, English guy, early 20s at the time. Think you know your teachers? Think again. Picture this, 6 college mates, middle of nowhere, English countryside. They've got their secret camping spot, been going there for years. Fire pit made of old bricks, never seen another soul. Until that Saturday morning when everything changed. Marcus wakes up hungover, crawls out of his tent, and there they are, this elderly hippie couple setting up camp right next to them. Now here's where it gets interesting. You know that feeling when you see someone and you know you recognize them, but you can't place it? That's exactly what happened to Marcus. The old man, big guy, massive beard, covered in this weird hat with badges and pins everywhere. And then it hits Marcus like a truck. Wait, are you Mr. Henderson? His old art teacher from high school. Now, most people would think this is a cool coincidence, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Because Marcus's friend Tyler disappears into the woods the second he recognizes this teacher. Just vanishes. And Marcus is about to find out why. The teacher introduces his partner. Get this, she calls herself Walmart. Like the store. Red flag number 1. They seem friendly enough. Share some food, tell stories around the campfire. Normal camping stuff. But then the sun goes down. And that's when Marcus realizes this teacher never actually ate anything. Never drank anything. Just sat there, watching. Out come the drugs. LSD. Pills. Mushrooms. Way more than any normal camper would have. Now here's the question. What do you do when your old teacher is trying to force hallucinogens on you in the middle of nowhere? Marcus tries to play it cool. Pretends to drink the mushroom tea. But these people? They're not taking no for an answer. And then the touching starts. Hands all over him. The teacher talking about free love and telling Marcus to take his clothes off. This 60-year-old man doing things to himself right there in front of this terrified kid. Marcus said the drugs made everything look demonic. The teacher's face twisted into something evil. The woman cackling like a witch. Shadow figures laughing in the trees. And just when Marcus thinks this is how he dies, a roar from the forest. Tyler charges out of the darkness swinging a massive tree branch like a baseball bat. Smash goes their tent. The teacher scrambling around trying to pull his pants up. Tyler screaming at them to get away from his friend. Tyler forces these predators into their car and makes them leave. Saves Marcus's life. But here's the real kicker. The reason Tyler disappeared earlier? This same teacher had been grooming him for years. Walking in on him in school showers. Making inappropriate comments. Tyler never told anyone because he was just a kid and didn't know what to do. Marcus looked into it later. Found out this teacher had left their school under a cloud of similar accusations. Never proven in court, but the pattern was there. So the next time someone tells you to trust authority figures just because of their position, remember Marcus's story. Because predators don't wear signs, they wear smiles. But if you think that's disturbing, wait until you hear what happened to Jake and Devin in California. Because what they found in that cave, it's going to make your skin crawl. But first, comment below. Have you ever had a gut feeling about someone that turned out to be right? Because this next story is all about trusting your instincts. California, 2012. Two best friends, Jake and Devin, think they've found the perfect unmarked camping spot in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Devin's a photographer, obsessed with getting the perfect shot for some online competition. Jake's the writer, documenting everything in his journal. Standard camping trip, right? Cook some burgers, take some photos, maybe see a golden eagle? Until Devin finds the cave. Dark opening in the rock face. Jake gets the creeps immediately, his guts telling him to walk away. But Devin wants those perfect cave photos. You know that moment when every horror movie character makes the dumb decision? This is it. And you're about to find out why Jake should have trusted his instincts. They step inside and it's like entering another world. Liquid darkness. The kind of black that swallows your flashlight beam. Something crunches under Jake's foot. Bones. Animal bones scattered everywhere. And then they see movement. A shadow darts across the cave wall. Pale flesh in the flashlight beam. Jake calls out, "Hello." The response? "Get gone," followed by a string of curses that would make a sailor blush. Not exactly the mystical mountain hermit Jake was hoping to meet. They run. Get back to their campsite. And that's when they see it. Their tent. Covered in what looks like blood. Red liquid dripping everywhere. The word "leave" painted across the canvas in giant letters. What would you do? Stay and fight? Pack up and run? They drive to the nearest town, hit up a bar. The bartender just laughs when they tell their story. Turns out that whole area is crawling with meth cooks. The cave dweller they met? Just another junkie client camping out near the operation. The bartender's shocked they escaped with their lives. Says there's shootings up there almost every week. Two friends thought they were going on a photography adventure. Instead, they stumbled into a drug operation that could have gotten them killed. Sometimes the scariest monsters in the woods are just people who've lost their humanity. But speaking of people losing their humanity, the next story is about someone Jake thought he knew better than anyone. His girlfriend of 8 months. And what she did on their camping trip is going to make you question everyone in your life. Seriously, if you're in a relationship right now, you need to hear this story. Because the warning signs were there. Jake just didn't see them coming. This is the story I warned you about. The one that's going to mess with your head. Meet Ryan. Software developer, thinks he's found the one. 8 months with his girlfriend Sarah. Perfect relationship, or so he thought. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in a relationship right now, pay attention. Because the signs were there. Ryan just didn't see them. Picture this. Beautiful fall day, Rhode Island campground, secluded spot by a pond. Ryan's thinking about proposing. Heart swelling with love, using words like idyllic to describe their perfect little paradise. He had no idea he was dating a psychological time bomb. Ryan wakes up to Sarah screaming. Rushes outside to find their campsite destroyed. Food everywhere, car vandalized, back window smashed. His brand new BMW, his baby scratched and gouged like someone took a key to it with pure hatred. Sarah's got a theory ready to go. Drunk frat boys. She saw them earlier, she claims. They trashed everything and ran off. But here's what should have been red flag number 1. What kind of vandals smashed phones that were inside the tent? Ryan noticed it. That nagging feeling. But love makes you ignore red flags, doesn't it? Sarah begs to stay. grabs his hands, horrified at the thought of leaving. Why would someone want to stay where they'd just been victimized? Ryan starts looking around the campground for these alleged frat boys. Talks to other campers. Nobody under 40 except him and Sarah. No sign of any group of young men anywhere. But here's the kicker. One of the campers pulls Ryan aside. Says Sarah seemed volatile and angry. This stranger was concerned about him. Ryan comes back to find Sarah sobbing in the tent. Claims 3 guys just threatened her, made advances, kicked another dent in the car. Now ask yourself, what are the odds of being victimized twice in one day by the same invisible group of vandals? But Ryan's in love. He wants to protect her. He's not thinking clearly. Until he asks the simple question that changes everything. Sarah, how did they get our phones when we went to sleep with them in the tent? Her face goes cold. Death stare. She opens her mouth, closes it, opens it again. Can't answer. And then she screams at him. How dare he accuse her? What is he implying? Ryan never accused her of anything. He just asked about the phones. That's when she breaks down and tells him everything. She thought he was going to leave her. Thought he was cheating. Thought he loved his car more than her. This woman destroyed their campsite, vandalized his car, made up elaborate stories about fictional attackers. Because she wanted him to feel protective of her again. She thought if they were in danger together, he'd fall back in love with her. Imagine discovering the person you wanted to marry is capable of this level of deception and manipulation. Silent drive home. Ryan thinking maybe he can get her help, save the relationship. Wakes up blocked on everything. Social media, phone, email. Friends asking why he treated her so badly. Years later, he's married with a kid, living in a different state. Still gets threatening messages calling him a cheater. His car gets vandalized again, coincidence or not. One camping trip revealed who Sarah really was. And it broke Ryan so badly that he can't even discuss camping with his current wife. He spent years convinced every woman he dated would suddenly turn on him. The psychological damage was that severe. Comments section. Have you ever discovered someone you loved was completely different than you thought? Because that kind of betrayal, it changes you. But sometimes the people who seem dangerous turn out to be harmless. Like what happened to Emma and Chris during an environmental protest in England? Sometimes the scariest situation becomes the most heartwarming. This is one of those stories. Meet Emma. Young activist trying to impress Chris, the guy she's crushing on. Environmental protest against fracking. Camp out by the road, wave some signs, make some noise. We've all been there, right? Doing something slightly outside our comfort zone to impress someone we like? Picture 100 protesters with tents, PA system blasting Black Sabbath, people running into the road to block traffic. Classic environmental activism. Emma and Chris set up their separate tents. She shot down his suggestion for one big tent, though he claimed it was just a joke. 3am. Emma and Chris jolted awake by shouting. Angry voice, can't make out the words. Moonlight reveals the scariest sight imaginable. Furious farmer with a shotgun, waving it at their tents. No time to grab clothes. Emma in just a Spider-Man t-shirt, Chris in his underwear, both running for their lives. What's your first instinct when someone's pointing a gun at you? Run toward help or away from danger? They choose wrong. Instead of running toward the other protesters, they bolt into the woods. Pitch black forest, can't see anything, running blind through trees and roots. Emma and Chris lose each other in the darkness. Chris is alone, hurt, bleeding from tree branches and falls. Hears Emma cry out in the distance. Despite being terrified and lost, Chris runs toward the sound. His crush might be in danger. Finds Emma, with the farmer still holding that shotgun. Chris stumbles out of the woods, bleeding and half naked, and does something incredible. He takes full blame. Tells the farmer it was his idea to join the protest, begs him to let Emma go. The farmer starts laughing. Turns out the gun wasn't even loaded, too rusty to fire. This angry farmer was just trying to scare some trespassers off his tiny piece of land. The farmer's wife later admits her husband was probably more lost in those woods than they were. They follow the sound of the protest back to camp. Farmer ends up taking some leaflets interested in their cause. Invites them for tea at the farmhouse. How often do we assume the worst about people based on first impressions? Emma and Chris never dated but became close friends. Shared trauma bonds people, even if it doesn't always spark romance. Chris says there's something about facing down what you think is certain death that puts everything in perspective. He never went back to finish the protest, but he still wonders what happened with that fracking development. But not every encounter with strangers in the wilderness ends with tea and friendship. Because what happened to Klaus in the Appalachian Mountains? That's going to keep you awake tonight. Hit that like button if you think that farmer story was wholesome, because this next one is the complete opposite. This final story comes from Klaus, a German hiker who learned the hard way that some American legends are real. Klaus is an experienced solo hiker. Explored all over Europe without incident. Thought Appalachia would be just another mountain range to conquer. He'd been obsessed with American horror stories, Appalachian folklore. Finally gets his chance to visit in 2014. Promised his friends he'd stick to the marked trail. Secretly planned to go wherever the wind took him. We've all made promises we intended to keep, right? Until curiosity gets the better of us? Klaus is blown away by the beauty. Trees unlike anything in Europe, towering and ancient. Sets up camp by a pristine pond watching stars. Drifts off to sleep in this perfect paradise. Wakes up to howling. Thinks it's wolves at first. Then the howling becomes human voices. Not just voices, chanting. Over and over, if you leave you'll die. If you leave you'll die. Imagine being alone in a foreign country in the middle of nowhere, with invisible people telling you that leaving your tent means death. Klaus grips his hunting knife, only weapon he has as a foreign visitor. Listens to footsteps circling his tent like predators. He calls out, "Leave where?" They respond, "Leave the tent." "Will you kill me?" No answer. Just more howling. Every fiber of his being wants to fight or flee. But they're telling him staying put is his only chance of survival. Someone relights his campfire. Klaus panics. Are they going to burn him alive? But the fire's not close enough to the tent. Bang. Gunshot in the darkness. Then another. More hooting and laughter. Klaus doesn't know if someone just got killed. Doesn't know if he's next. All he can do is lie there and grip his knife. The voices keep reinforcing, "Stay in the tent. Don't come out. You'll be okay if you stay inside." Eventually, terror gives way to exhaustion. Klaus passes out from fear and adrenaline crash. Wakes up to silence. Unzips the tent carefully. No sign of the night's events, except for one thing. A six-pack of beer sitting by his cold fire pit. Wasn't there when he went to sleep. Was it a prank? A test? A warning? Klaus still doesn't know. He's asked experts, locals, other hikers. Nobody has a clear explanation for what happened that night. Cut his dream trip short. Now only hikes Appalachia with groups, staying on marked trails. Every time he goes back, he prays he doesn't encounter those voices again. Sometimes the wilderness tests you in ways you never expected. And sometimes the only way to survive is to follow instructions from strangers in the dark. 5 stories. 5 people who thought they knew what they were getting into. Marcus learned that predators hide behind authority. Jake discovered that desperation makes people dangerous. Ryan found out that love can mask manipulation. Emma realized that assumptions can be wrong. Klaus experienced something that defies explanation. The wilderness doesn't just test your physical survival skills. It reveals who people really are when civilization's rules don't apply. Every single one of these people was changed by their experience. Some for the better, some carrying trauma they'll never fully shake. So the next time you're planning a camping trip, remember these stories. Trust your instincts, know who you're with, and maybe stick to the marked trails. If these stories kept you glued to your screen, smash that like button. Subscribe and hit the notification bell because I've got dozens more encounters that will blow your mind. Drop a comment. What's the creepiest thing that's ever happened to you in the wilderness? Your story might be featured in the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember, the forest is listening.